Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of Mark Holmes and Jobu Sports and my day job. And we are reconstructing, redoing the workshop because we have actually purchased an Inventables CNC machine, and I've got the 2x4 unit, and I need to have space to be able to make it usable as much as possible. I have a 2-car garage here, so it's not a lot of space. I do have a lot of equipment that's in here, and I'm trying to maximize the work surface area, the ability to be able to use full sheets of plywood, as well as still continue to use the other components that I have. So basically, I have gone through and I've just kind of taken apart my center island that's here. The way I've always had this is I've had the table saw, I have a 15-inch thickness planer that's actually up underneath of it, and then I have my 6-inch joiner right there. I had later on put an outfeed table that was a cabinet that I just kind of threw together with scrap wood. It was never perfect or anything like that, but it did the job. It gave me an assembly area. So what I've actually done is figuring out how to use the full sheets of plywood. I used to have a thickness sander over here on the end. I've actually moved that over on the wall. So I've literally taken off the extension table that I had on the table saw because I won't need to have the same capability that I needed before, where I wanted to be able to cross cut 35-inch, 34.5-inch pieces for cabinets. I'll be able to actually use the CNC machine to do that cross cutting for me. So I'm going to cut the table saw bench down some, and then it'll be the CNC machine sitting right here, and this will enable me to be able to slide a full sheet of plywood into the unit and be able to carry on out because it has a tiling effect. So even though the work area is 4 foot by 2 foot, it's infinite. As long as you're feeding stuff into it, it'll be able to tile and carry through there. So my thought being is to try and get the joiner as close as possible. So what I've done is I've actually made a new cabinet that's actually underneath of here that I'll be able to use for storage and things. If I need to get to and change the belt, I'm going to have some wood clamps that'll be able to clamp this in place, pop those off. The countertop will be able to slide out with the cabinet. I can get to the table saw, work on that. The other thing you'll notice right here too is I've actually cut this out on my outfeed table, so that way I can get in here and adjust the fence, and I can use still the joiner without having to move it. But you can see most of the joiner is actually up underneath the table saw here, which is key. Now I've got a bigger work surface. My old one only came to about here. I've made it wider than it used to be, and it's longer. So it actually will give me better outfeed as I go through and use that. But it also gives me a good assembly table to do stuff as well. The Inventables will actually be sitting over here. Now I'm going to have to redo my dust collection system. It's going to move out. And actually, let me show you from a different... Okay, so you can see a little bit differently from this side. So I've got this overhang with my countertop here. And see, this is where I'm trying to incorporate and make things better in the future. This is just a piece of laminate that's on top of it. It'll be fine for running wood and stuff on it. But the thing that always end up happening is when I glue up stuff, I get glue on there. So in my mind, I'm going to actually go ahead and make basically an oversized paper towel rack that will go underneath there, and I'll be able to put a full roll of rosin paper underneath of there. And then that way, when I go through and glue something up, I can get that heavyweight rosin paper over top of the workbench. The glue and stuff gets on there, cut it off, and boom, it's out of there. What you can also see too is the Inventables table will be about here, and it is 65 inches long. So it's going to end up filling in this space. Now what I'll do is I'll carry my table saw table out to meet this bar that's right here. And this is where the Inventables table will start out. Now I will lose some of the rip capacity of my table saw, but like I said, I won't need to use that. I'm going to keep it so I can go 24 inches, knowing that way I can cut either way on the sheet. The other thing is I wanted to keep this open so that way when you use the planer that's down here, you can get to that real easy. Now what I might do, and I'm thinking about this, is make a bridge piece that'll be able to fit in there between the invertibles table as well as this other table, so that way I can have a complete whole work surface. Now the nice thing will be is the inventable unit will be right here. It's going to be going back and forth and doing all the cuts and stuff on there. I can take the fence off the table. I can come in with a full sheet of plywood, lay it here on the work surface, and it'll be able to slide in. And then, since I've moved everything else, I actually have more floor space. I actually have a lot more floor space here where I can actually assemble stuff. This, of course, is the edge sander that I have that's over in here. So it's not a lot of space that I have to work with. And when you think that I have a dual drum 24-inch thickness sander, a full wood lathe, an edge sander, a thickness planer, a 6-inch joiner, table saw, 2 horsepower bandsaw, a 3 horsepower shaper, a Craig jig that I've basically made into a floor unit, a 3 horsepower dust collector, a radial arm saw, and a drill press. It's a lot going on in a workshop of this size. But with this, the way I get it done, and it's a mess right now, I'm going to go through, because some of those paint cans up there have been here for 10, 15 years. I'm going to start purging. And what I've realized is a couple of things. I've got a lot of tools, a lot of plug-in tools, a lot of pneumatic tools and things, and I've been replacing all of those things with cordless tools. I am a DeWalt man. I have every kind of DeWalt thing that you can think of that's cordless, from table saw. Of course, you see the cordless miter saw here. I wish I had bought the bigger one when I was buying it. This one is about $400. About another $300, I could have gotten the 12-inch compound one, and I may do that eventually. And that's the other thing that this brings me to. Sometimes we'll buy something to say, this will be good enough for the job. And I have been on the fence about getting a small CNC machine. You know, getting just a benchtop, you know, starter one that, you know, still costs anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500. And I kept thinking and thinking and thinking, and what happened is I realized, don't buy just a small one to get you through. First one I looked at basically had a work cut area of 15 by 15. It's going to be very limiting. And if you're already going to spend that money, if you're already going to put money into buying something, you best get something that's going to be able to carry you through for a long time, because it's an investment. You see this 3 horsepower planer that I have, 15-inch. I had it for about 15, 16, no, actually about 17 years. It's gone through thousands of board feet of lumber. The reason I got this one was I had like a benchtop, small scale, 12-inch planer, and my wife decided she loved hickory. Yeah, she wanted a hickory kitchen, so my kitchen cabinets that I built were made out of hickory. And guess what? The hickory killed that planer. So that's why I ended up getting a big heavy-duty one. Same thing I can say over there about that 3 horsepower shaper. Most people don't even use a shaper, they'll use a router table. But I've got some bits that are like 5.5 inches across. And when I had the 1 horsepower shaper that I bought, which was nice, it wasn't enough power to really be able to cut and use those blades like I wanted them to use. Hence, I bought that one. I still have the other one, just haven't used it in like 15, 16 years. So this is the reason why I said, let me go ahead and get, instead of their X-Curve, which is a good unit. It's a good unit. But when I heard that it's 16 hours to put it together, I was like, I don't work at the factory. And the capacity of it's 30 inches by 30 inches. It's still infinite length and depth in it. And finding out that they actually had financing as well as 15% off, I started thinking I need to look at the Pro. So I ordered the X Pro, which, here, to give you an idea what the capacity of this would be is, let's say somebody said, I want to put a sign on the side of a building. I want a relief carving done. Well, you see this, my friends? This is a 4x8 sheet of plywood. I can put this and make a carving. Anything that I want. Anything that I want. This thing will be able to carve this full sheet. I will be able to go through, let's say I'm doing my kitchen cabinets, and this is where I was talking to my wife about the amount of steps it will take, it will save. Normally when I build cabinets, buy a sheet of plywood like this. First, if it's an upper cabinet, I'll rip it down to 11 1/4 inches, right? So I'll cut it that way. Then I'll take it over onto the radial arm saw, and then I'll cut it to the length. If it's a 30-inch, 40-inch cabinet, I cut that length. Next, I'll go through and I'll rabbet out a groove in the back for the plywood to go into, a 1/4 inch groove there. Then I will dado out the slots that need to go into for the other cross pieces to go into, the dados. So I'll do that. And I'll have to do that for each piece. I can say to this machine, and it still blows me away, the computers and all this blow my mind. I'll be able to go through and say, I've got a 30-inch cabinet. It will cut out all 4 pieces. It'll put the dados into this, okay, for the cross members. It'll cut the rabbets in this for the plywood to go, the 1/4 inch plywood to go in there, and it'll even be able to drill the holes for the adjustable shelves. I just lay it on there, and I can sit here and drink my coffee and do videos while it's doing all the work. So this is me taking a step into the next thing and figuring that saving a little bit of money and then realizing, damn, I wish I had gotten one big enough that I could do the cabinet work on it. Would have been ridiculous. And that's where I am right now. So you're seeing the beginning of a whole new work surface area, and this spot will be basically everything that I need. Oh, the other thing too, the table that I'm going to make, this table is actually going to be pretty big, or bench. It's 31 inches by 65. I'll probably make it a little bit oversized just to have a little extra space. But now that gives me the capability of having storage for some tools. Now, actually, this reduces the amount of tools you need. But being able to keep extra parts and stuff, so if I go through and I need to make parts for the shelves, I load it up, let it cut all those pieces. I'll be able to put them in drawers till I need them to be assembled. So it's going to give me some storage area where I can actually clean a lot of this stuff up and actually get rid of a lot of things that I have. Like I've got a dovetail jig up there. Won't need that anymore because I'll be able to do the dovetails here. It's just another one of the many tools that this one piece will replace. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, as I get building some more, look here, while I'm here, let me show you. Okay, so you can see this is actually the cabinet. I've got it open under here so that way when I plane wood, I've got plenty of space to be able to reach up underneath there to get it. But it also enables me to be able to plane 8.5 foot long material, just basically from the garage door and through here. And then I have enough space where I can get into there if I need to clear out the wood or grab the wood or whatever. And I've got this cabinet over here, and you can see where I've got where the dust collection pipe will be able to go in there. I'll end up putting, building some drawers. I'll put a face frame on here. I'll put some doors at the bottom, so that way I can keep those tools there readily accessible and clean. But then I'll also be able to just put some other stuff in here. I'll probably put some pocket holes, not pocket holes, shelving holes in there, so I can put a couple of shelves in there. That way I can keep all my sanding tools and stuff right there, and have like a drawer for the sandpaper, so I keep the disc and stuff clean. And this will be, a little bit better organized than what I used to be. So trying to rebuild the workshop here to make it as functional as possible, to maximize the amount of space that I have, and make it as easy as possible to be able to put stuff together. So taking another step. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate you.